if it's all about love. You see that? And another thing, black folks, we got to make sure that we do not allow somebody to make us feel like we are being a bad human being by criticizing certain types of behaviors that are not in the best interest of African people. It ain't nothing personal. I ain't got nothing personal against Charles Barkley and Sidney Poitier. I ain't got nothing personal against Tiger Woods and James Earl Ray and Taye Diggs and Cuba Gooding Jr. and Tim Duncan and Kobe Bryant, and I'll probably be here till 5 o'clock in the morning. I ain't got nothing personal against none of them. But the bottom line is women live longer than men. So if a rich black man marries a poor white woman, when he dies, she now inherits his millions. This is about business. It ain't about love. And the big situation is a lot of our young brothers think when they sleeping with the white woman, they getting over. I'm getting her back for what they did to my aunt. No, you ain't, you dummy. Because every time you go into that cave of hers, guess what? You come out more mixed out than the last time you went in there. You cannot lay down with somebody, cohabitate, and not pick up their energy. So when you lay down with her, you're picking up her energy. You might have thought you was a strong black man, but after hitting that 25 times, guess what? You are as European as any other European male. It distorts consciousness. It distorts consciousness. And I'm going to tell you something from a psychotherapy standpoint. No child suffers more than a biracial black child. If you don't believe me, read Obama's own words in his own autobiographies. Read what that man tell you. I knew I had friends who was biracial. They never quite fit. White folks don't want them, period. And some of us, because we into the whole light skin supremacy movement, we don't want to take them either. And by the way, we do have light skin supremacy in the black community. You do know that, right? Yes, we have light skin supremacy. I know black nationalists who are light skin supremacists. I know black leaders who are light skin supremacists. You'll never catch a sister with color around them. And they never get called on it. Some of y'all, when the babies come out to this very day, you know what you're doing? You're looking at their ears to see how dark they're going to be in 10 years. You're supposed to be celebrating African life, but the slave in you demands to know what is going to be ultimate complexion of this child. Some of you tell your kids don't bring anything home darker than a certain complexion. And just like you got light skin supremacy, you got black skin supremacy. I know some brothers and sisters, they blue, black, purple, and anything lighter than them is inferior to them. That's right. So the light-skinned kids get beat up and picked on in some places, and then the dark-skinned kids get beat up and picked on in other places. And what I'm saying is we got to realize none of us are responsible for how we got here, no matter how dark or how light. See, when you judge black people, you don't judge black people based on skin color. You judge every black person by 5 things, whether it's me, whether it's the leaders on TV, whether it's the person sitting next to you, whether it's your schoolmate. You judge them based on consciousness, courage, commitment, consistency, and creativity. Consciousness, courage, commitment, consistency, and creativity. For example, my black scholars who are working at the white colleges, but they love Africa so much, but all their kids go to white private schools, y'all know who I'm talking about. Y'all know who I'm talking about because y'all bring them to Philly 4, 5, 6, 7 times a year and never asking no serious questions. Live in white neighborhoods, kids go to white schools, but they in love with you. Yeah, the hell right. So you got to understand the difference between somebody who's struggling and somebody who pimping. Because in case you ain't picked it up, black leadership is a very profitable business. I'm surprised they don't trade it on Wall Street. Black leadership stock. Tell me I'm wrong. Right now we got a situation where most of your national black leaders have gotten quiet on the Obama question. It's a war going on in case you ain't noticed. And they all bourgeois fighting, so I don't want you to get too involved in the war, because even though I agree with Tavis and Dyson, they still elitist blacks. They're not coming in the hood to help you organize. But their position is accurate, which is that President Obama has taken care of everybody but blacks, and it's time for him to look at us. But you got other people on the other aisle, I ain't going to say their names because y'all in love with them people, who say Obama basically ain't got to do nothing for black people. Okay, he won, and that should be enough. What's wrong with that argument? We're not fighting a personality. We are fighting global white supremacy. It is a system. Do you understand? So whether I'm in charge or whether he's in charge, you must fight the system. Because it ain't about the face you see. It's about the mechanical order behind it. And we've forgotten that. And we've forgotten that. And we've forgotten that. And let me go on to Africa for a moment. Some of us think that they don't want us in Africa. I've been to Africa 3 times, 5, 6 countries. I've never ran into that yet. I'm going to tell you what they don't want in Africa. They don't want somebody with internalized racism going over there making more internalized racists. That's what they don't want in Africa. If you're going to go, leave your basketballs here. They don't need them. Ladies, no disrespect, leave everything you got from Hing Ching Wong at your house. Don't bring it on the airport. They don't need that either. Because when I was in Johannesburg, South Africa, walking around in the hood, you know what I saw? I saw black sisters in these wooden-made perm factories burning their skin, making a homemade lie, trying to look like you. I'm telling you what I saw with my own eyes. See, what black people have not grasped in America, you are the leaders of Africans around the globe culturally and financially. You gross $850 billion a year. You are the richest group of blacks on the face of the earth. There is no group of blacks who makes more money than the Negro in America. In fact, there's only 9 groups of people with more richness than you on earth. So there's only 9 groups of people who make more money than black Americans, Negro Americans, ex-slaves, whatever you want to call, because I don't know what an African American is. There's a hyphen in there. What's the hyphen going on? I think W.E.B. Du Bois said it best. I respect him a lot. He was a hater, though. He hated on Marcus Garvey and helped destroy the movement. Okay, but you got to look at the good and the bad in everybody. So I celebrate Du Bois' good, and at the same time, when I teach young black children, I got to teach them that he was a very, very jealous, Eurocentric man. And he wanted to destroy Marcus Garvey because Marcus Garvey didn't have a Harvard degree. Harvard. So he wanted to know how this English-speaking Jamaican without a college degree comes to America and take over my leadership. Booker T. Washington had just died. So Du Bois said, I am the heir apparent. I'm supposed to be the next great leader, but here comes Mr. Garvey, some short, fat man from Jamaica, and it just organizes 15 million people like that. So it brought the jealousy. But my point is, getting back to Africa, is that we have to have something to give to Africa. With $850 billion, do you know if we were organized, no African nation would ever have to go in debt to the World Bank or the International Monetary Fund? Do you know that? Do you know that? No African nation would ever have to borrow another dollar from the United States government if blacks in America were organized. But we are not organized. That is our problem. Stokely Carmichael, Kwame Ture, he was a socialist, I'm a nationalist, but he was correct. And Mr. Garvey was correct when he said the number one enemy or the number one weapon used against the Negro is disorganization. The only organization we have in our community is the church and the mosque. And guess what? That's not going to get it done. And the reason why it's not going to get it done, because the Orthodox Christian and the Orthodox Muslim are more alike than they are separate, because neither one of them wants anything to do with black consciousness. And I can say that because I was raised Muslim and I challenge any Muslim on that. Orthodox. We don't want nothing to do with it. Islam is for everybody. You're right. Islam is for everybody, but the last time I checked, when you make Hajj and you go to the Middle East, they call you Abd and Kafir like they do every other black man. Long beard or not. Don't let religion confuse you to your race. African people are the only people who are asked every day, are you loyal to who you are, or are you loyal to what you believe? The question for me is real simple. If God made me first and made me black, obviously being loyal to blackness is being loyal to God at the same time. I'm not choosing either or. They are one and the same for me. And that's where we mess up. And that's where we mess up. Remember, anything you drop into a self-hating people will be used for self-hate. And if you don't give them anything, they will make up stuff. North Philly versus West Philly. William Penn versus Ben Franklin. But wait a minute. Y'all don't do no damn homework, and they don't do no damn homework. So how the name you want to fight in the name of the school? That's what Negroes do. That's what we do. And then we got a situation where all of our young people are self-medicating on marijuana. But ain't nobody telling them that they spraying the drugs that they bring to the hood. They spraying them. I want y'all young people to know, if you keep on getting blunted like that, and we know who's smoking the blunts because your fingertips look like you've been playing the piano all day. And it's funny, too, because I do psychological evaluations for a living, right? So soon they come in and sit, I'm looking at the fingertips. And you know when you blunt, I'll see him laughing in the back. Yeah, I know. I know when you blunt it, because when you blunt it, you move in slow motion all day, okay? But ain't nobody telling you that when you grow up, young man, and you want to get have your wife and y'all want to have a child, okay, you won't be able to give her what she needs to bring you that baby, okay, because it messes with the sperm. Just like you go in slow motion, they be going in slow motion. And they never get to where they're supposed to be. So you got to slow that down. Now, speaking of spraying chemicals, let's talk about HIV for a moment. It's the number one killer of black women 18 to 38. Now, right now, the United States government, the official's line is that AIDS was created. Listen to me now. This is official. This is from the government. AIDS was created because a monkey in Africa, Congo, had sex with a woman. If you don't believe me, look it up. Type in the origin of AIDS according to the U.S. government. They said that the monkey had the virus and gave it to a woman. They said, we're not going to say that the woman cohabitated with the monkey, but somehow the virus jumped from the monkey to the woman.